What's up, and welcome back to another episode of Next Door Conversations with me, Amara. Today's episode is on video. I know for the past 2 years, you've heard me, you've heard my voice, not specifically. For the past 2 years, you've heard me, you've heard my voice, not specifically on this microphone, but we're just going to work with this one for now. But you've heard me, you've heard my voice, you've heard me chit chat online about a bunch of topics, and now we are finally on video. Thank God, because I feel like the only way this podcast is really going to pop off is if I show my face in front of a camera and use video. So I guess that is what we're doing now. Thank God. uh, Today's episode, we're going to be talking about where I have been for the past couple of weeks, what I have been doing. If you're on the WhatsApp channel, you kind of get an idea, or you have an idea of what I have been doing so far. And I know this is not the setup that we agreed on the WhatsApp channel, but this is what I'm starting with, and hopefully in the future. I'm always hopeful that I will eventually get to do the things that I want to do. So let's just see how things go. Yeah, and that's what we're doing on today's episode. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Amara, and this is Next Door Conversations, my podcast where I talk about trending news, viral content, what's happening on social media and in the world at large. If you like what you're listening to, make sure that you're following the podcast, ring the notification bells every time I drop an episode, you get a notification. And also, don't forget to share this episode with a friend, because I'm sure there's someone in your circle of friends that's interested in topics as these. And don't forget to give this sorry. And don't forget to give this podcast a 5-star rating. This is a 5-star podcast, so please give me 5 stars. That entire intro is a very it's a mouthful. It's really a mouthful, and sorry, I'm still sick. Yeah, it's a mouthful, and getting through it, I just thank God I've been able to get through it for over 100 episodes. But anyway, let's get straight into the episode. Guys, I have been MIA. I know I've been MIA. The last episode that I dropped was on the second week of this month, and was it on the second week or the first week? No, it was the first week. It was the first week of this month, and after that, I just ghosted. Even though I said that I would drop some episodes on the WhatsApp channel. Again, I am sorry to everybody on that WhatsApp channel. I'm just giving you lies. It's not like I'm giving you lies, but I really did plan to drop those episodes. But I felt sick, and my mom felt sick, and my sister got assaulted in an e-hailing cab ride, and a lot has been happening in my house, in my household, and I just knew that I did not have the mental capacity to be doing podcasts while all of these things are happening, and I am at the center of it. Really, literally, like I'm the one, having to at least manage it to some certain extent, not necessarily with my money, but with my time and with my effort and with literally my intellect to try and figure out what medicines that I would take. But yeah, we have had some issues at home. I, as you all know, have a chronic condition that basically has me on medications for the rest of my life. Every day I am taking popping pills, and unfortunately for me, I made a little miscalculation on my own dosing. Basically, I wasn't taking my meds the right way, right? You would think someone with a whole degree in medicine would know to take her medicines the right way. But anyway, I wasn't taking my medicines the right way, and I was like, eh, and then I now started coughing. And that's when I knew that problem there. So it was literally on a phone call with a close friend. I was talking with this friend, and we're just chit chatting, and I accidentally let it slip. Thank God I did. How I was taking my medication, and the person that I was speaking to is also a doctor, and so he told me, he was like, "Is that how you're supposed to be taking it? Aren't you supposed to be taking it like this?" And then my life literally just flashed before my eyes, and I saw that, wait, oh, at the beginning of this year and late last year, I was taking these medications this way. So what on earth happened that all of a sudden I now started taking it a different way? And I think it's probably because when you're doing something habitually, when you're doing something every day, you don't even think about it. You're like, okay, I have to take my meds, and my condition is one that's, I won't even lie, it fucks up your psyche. It really does mess with your mental. So, you know, perhaps there was an element of depression, perhaps there was an element of something else that might have made me decide to take my medicines perhaps a lot more frequently than I should have. And yeah, so immediately I realized, I started bawling. Like I just started crying. I just let out an exhale. I felt like I just said, I was just like, oh, why am I doing this? What is going on? Am I going to die? Stupid. I was being very dramatic, but honestly, I just felt like I needed to just let it all out. I needed to let out everything because I do live with that fear, like with so many fears that I can't even put into words on this podcast. Because if I do, this episode will be 1 hour long. But I was just bawling and crying and being like, oh my God, no wonder. Because I've had this chronic cough that has been non productive. And basically, non productive means I'm not producing anything, like I'm not coughing out anything. And, my voice is changing. So many things. I'm sure if someone is listening to this, they probably can tell that my voice has changed a little bit. So many things were happening, and I was just like, why is this happening? And finally, to have the answer there, it was helpful, I guess. So next day, rush to the hospital, do some blood work, a lot of blood work, do a chest X-ray, contact all the doctors I can contact. Was able to just stop the medicine. First of all, stop the medicine and just nurse myself to health. Even though you can tell that I'm still coughing, but things are getting a little bit better. I'm seeing a doctor, so then my mom gets sick, and I don't want to get into the specifics of her illness because it's not for me to tell, but she got sick and it was pretty bad because like she woke up in the middle of the night in pain, and then we had to rush to the hospital. And that's another issue. So we did that. Then she gets better, then she gets sick again. Then she gets better, then she gets sick again. So we've been in and out of the hospital for the past 1 month. It has been chaotic, and that is really the reason why I haven't been able to sit down and do all of this. Because why am I talking about all the problems happening in Nigeria when problem day at home? You sort charity begins at home. You sort the problems at home before you come and start talking about lofty ideas. Not saying that those whatever is happening in the world right now, or whatever is happening on social media, or how people are reacting is not important, but you have to take care of yourself and your home first before you come and start minding other people's business. So I had to take care of business at home. And I am grateful to God that everybody is well. I even forgot to mention the incidents that happened with my sister. My sister ordered a ride from an e-hailing app. I don't want to say the specific one, but it's not the one that you think it is. You would think that that one that is notorious for this kind of situation is the one, but it's not that one. It's the upper one. It's the better one. Yeah, that she used. If you know anything about me, if you've listened to this podcast, you know that I'm a cheapskate. So I don't even used to do that e-hailing ride unless I really need to use, like unless I really need to, get somewhere super fast. I'm fine with using like basic public transport. Like I always used to dress like an abero. Not like I used to dress like an abero, but I used to dress like someone that doesn't have money, so that they will not even profile me as somebody that can, they can. But then again, maybe it's because I've not entered one chance before. That's why I'm taking such risks. I've just been lucky. God has been very helpful. Is he helpful? God has been on my side. God has been on my side. Oh my God, why am I sound like one of those Nigerians that's giving testimony and then we're talking about other people's problems while I'm talking about how blessed I am. That is so wrong. But one chance has never one chanced me. And that is why I'm always like, I'm an along girl. I used to take along. If I'm not taking along, I'll find keke, I'll fly keke. If I'm not flying keke, I'll fly Okada. But my sister is bougie. So she went to go and order from one of these e-hailing rides, and something happened. Something very serious happened. She got into an altercation. I don't even want, this is not my story to tell. This is not my story to tell. And she has said she doesn't want to tell the story yet. So I will not get into the specifics, but just know that that was the situation that happened. And yeah, it also had to be dealt with. So, like, a lot of things have been happening at home. A lot of things. Even my auntie self came and she had a whole surgery. Like, a lot of things have been happening at home, and that is why I've been away, and that is the reason why I am doing this. Even though this is a horrible start to us getting on video, but I feel like I just need to give an explanation before we get into the swing of things here on Next Door Conversations. So yeah, that's basically it. I hope you all have been doing well. If you can, make sure that you are on the WhatsApp channel so you have deets, so you can be exposed to these types of things that I'm saying about me and updates. So you won't be like, oh, why haven't you dropped an episode? You'll know why I haven't dropped an episode. Also, follow us on social media. Yes, I'm back on social media, but only for this podcast. Only for this podcast. I want to I want to say it verbatim. Okay. I do not have personal social media except from LinkedIn. Only for this podcast. You can find us on X. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on WhatsApp. You can even check out YouTube, or maybe you're even watching from YouTube now. Thank God. But yeah, you can find us in so many different places. And yeah, and also, I need to give a shout out to Nkem Creatives. Nkem Creatives featured Next Door Conversations on their social media pages. They did this nice thing where they help, get other people to discover podcasts, and we were spotlighted. So that is so cool. Please check out Nkem Creatives online. Check out our social media, and I will direct you to Nkem Creatives. They're really great at what they do. Thank you so much for listening to the episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.